This video has been made to help Headspace clinicians connect with young Afghan refugees and asylum seekers, engage communities and empower clients to improve emotional wellbeing.
Trust is the foundation of all good therapeutic work in and of itself. So we know that the vast majority of positive change in counselling relationships is about the quality of the relationship between the therapist and the client.
We need to have a holistic approach when listening to the needs of the community.
It's a big thing for them to actually open up for the first time and talk to someone about their mental health state or what they're going through, what they're thinking.
I feel that being aware of culture is so important for this community. It helps build friendship, it helps build trust.
Interact with the young people out in their own communities. I guess not so much sympathise but empathise with them and be able to help them and support them in any which way that they can.
Do a bit of research. Gain as much knowledge as you can about these people, about their background and what they have been through. Once you have a knowledge of that, then you can sort of feel what they have been through, and I think that makes you help them better, understand them better. So yeah, if you have do a bit of research and have that knowledge, it will really help both the clinicians and the clients.
When working with refugees and asylum seekers, it's important to have some knowledge about where they've come from and the journey they've taken in coming here to Australia. And you do this prior to actually working with them. As well as this, it's also very important to educate yourself on the cultural norms and the political climate in which they've come from.
I left my home in fear of persecution.
It was not safe there.
Because of civil war and unrest.
I left my home because of war.
I left my home because I wanted to live longer.
Conflict and disaster has devastated many communities from around the world. This has displaced people in their search for freedom, peace and security. Afghanistan is a country of natural beauty and rich culture, but it has been gripped by political turmoil and ongoing war. The Hazara people have experienced persecution for centuries, leaving many with no option but to seek safety in other places. The trauma of these combined experiences can have strong repercussions on their mental health, creating many problems and impacting negatively on their outlook and lives.
It's important to focus on their resilience and strength as community members after resettlement. I feel that the asylum and refugee community have so much resilience and strength that they've used within different environments in very adverse circumstances that as a clinician it's so important to be able to use this while we help them resettle into Australian community.
Go and understand what the young people have come with, the backgrounds of, and so it's not so much about imparting what you think is going to, to engage with them. It's about letting them engage with you.
Through learning about the situations people have come from and understanding the journeys taken and the challenges faced, you will be in a better position to help.
Something that many people would not understand about being an asylum seeker is the journey that they go through and the hardship that they go through before coming to Australia.
The feelings, how they feel. An asylum seeker never feels to be a free person.
They don't know how or what they go through, and they haven't been experienced the life-risking journeys that asylum seekers take.
They've gone through a lot, and coming to Australia is a big thing for them.
Asylum seekers are people like me and you. In fact, I'm one of them.
Spend a day on the run and tell me what you do to be free. Spend a day on the run, and would you now help those people through? Sail, sail.
Many cultures have misunderstandings and a lack of awareness relating to mental health issues. This stigma may create barriers for people in seeking and accessing help.
People from my community would not access counselling sessions because of the lack of knowledge, or because they don't know how the counselling system works in Australia, or maybe they don't know the Western counselling therapy.
Either they don't trust the counsellors, or they think that the counsellors can't help them.
They may not perceive mental health as being something that needs to be addressed, and they don't see it as impacting their lives.
Some of the people in my community may not choose to go to counselling because they think it would be opening up their mind to a stranger.
Some people choose not to go to counselling because they're scared of opening up, but it's okay to open up.
Asylum seekers from Afghanistan are certainly at more risk of anxiety, depression, probably not of a classic sense, but more related to the uncertainty about visa status, uncertainty about relationships with home, and disrupted relationships with people, with their families and with their friends. And that protracted kind of experience of anxiety and depression is also compounded in how they experience those symptoms.
Adapting to a new culture and the racism that a lot of people experience once they're here as well are all issues that are impacting on their health and well-being. As well as this, there's also difficulties in navigating the system. The system is quite difficult to navigate as it is for, people born here and bred here, let alone for someone that's come from a non-English speaking background.
Some of the challenges I faced in coming to Australia was the language difficulty.
One of the big challenges that I faced settling in Australia was finding myself alone in a crowd.
It was a horrible journey I faced coming to Australia.
Some of the challenges I faced settling in Australia was that I could not speak the language and I did not know the culture.
There were many challenges throughout, but I took it as an adventure.
As there is stigma attached to mental health, it may help to instead use the term emotional well-being, as it may be less confronting and easier to convey.
Mental health doesn't have a lot of focus in Afghanistan. People in Afghanistan don't take mental health very seriously. It's physical health that's, totally focused on. And if they sit and tell someone that they have mental health issues, people will directly jump on the conclusion of, them going crazy or whatever. So it's very hard to get, especially Hazara men, to open up and talk about their mental health issue. It's not easy, but you have to really work hard for it because we all need that. Everyone needs that. So it will help them really if they, talk about their mental health state with someone else.
It may be helpful in addressing issues and concepts if you first explain the different areas of physical, emotional, social and spiritual well-being, and convey how these elements combine to make up our overall health.
Personally, from my experiences, the best approach has been just to interact with the young people out in their own communities, kicking a soccer ball around, passing it to each other, sharing a joke, getting them to know you and that you're there as another member of the community, and then those channels can open up, those emotional wellbeing channels can open up after that. So it's really about gaining rapport and emotional wellbeing, I guess, before actually following through with the next step.
It's so important to listen to the community and learn from the people you're working with about how you can adapt your approach and delivery. Understand that the best outcomes occur when you collaborate and work together.
So in terms of practical support, that might mean referring clients to organisations that can help, for example, English language classes to help them engage into a mental health service. And in my experience, that has made a big difference in terms of engagement because we find that the young people especially tend to return to speak to us more, and to also not just ask for practical help the next time, but also to finally talk about their experience or their emotional well-being at that point. And I think being able to use that as a first step is very important as a stepping stone into service access into Headspace.
So for someone wanting to work with this particular group, my first advice to them is to try and find out if there's a community organisation within the area that you're with, try and identify leaders within the community and have them involved at all aspects of it. If you engage the community successfully, what will then result is that the community feel a sense of ownership in relation to the intervention that's been in place. Whatever intervention you've put in place will be sustainable, and the community will then be empowered as well.
Take time to engage with community. This will help to build trust through being able to empathise with their situations and understand perspectives.
Welcome to Headspace. My name is Christina and I work here at Headspace. This is Acta. Acta is the interpreter. He's here to help us in our conversation today.
Mga nom Christina asta.
It is really important to work closely with cultural advisors and interpreters. This is necessary not just in communicating with clients from non-English speaking backgrounds, but also will assist you understanding cultural nuances and improve awareness of potential challenges and how these can be avoided.
In the light of the primary approaches we tend to take at Headspace, there are some newer forms of counselling that do tend to be more focused and appropriate, we think, for the Afghan community, and these are more here and now sort of type counselling techniques, such as solution focused treatment or single session treatment, where the focus isn't on what's happened in the past, it's upon dealing with whatever issues or problems you're facing in the here and now. It focuses very much on what do you think is going to work, what's worked with you in the past, how can we move forward with the issues that we're feeling with right now. And so we found that kind of approach tends to be a lot more helpful. Those approaches are also very helpful for the young people who want more of a straight answer. So often in Western approaches, we're often asking and helping young people to make decisions for themselves. So clinicians are often a bit non-committal about giving advice or very reluctant to give advice. But we've found, and from the young people we've seen, that they're wanting us to give them a straight answer. They've asked, what would you do in this situation? And so we've learnt that often the young people coming to us in their own cultures would generally maybe talk to a community elder, a trusted friend, or a trusted expert in something. And so that's, I suppose, the positioning they're putting us in. They're treating us as, you should know what you're talking about because such and such told me to come here and talk about my problems, and so they want a straight answer. And those types of counselling approaches, clinicians are much freer to give those kinds of opinions and advice, if you like.
For example, going to an ESL class that is run by a community group and going there for maybe only half an hour or an hour if you have time to just help them with their ESL learning English. That is a great way actually to getting involved in the communities, and the students there will really welcome them and would love to have someone from a service like this to be there to just help them learn English.
It's a good idea to come across as a sincere and genuine friend.
Make sure you've done some research to improve your awareness of the cultural and historical situations your client may have come from. Developing trust is fundamental to successfully engage with clients and assist with their emotional well-being. Working closely with interpreters and cultural advisors is crucial in improving awareness and building bonds with individuals and the wider community. Adapt your approach by being flexible and responding to the needs of those you are working with. Remember that practical advice is often what is required, so don't be afraid to offer suggestions and direct clients to services that could help. Don't underestimate the power of friendship in helping to engage and connect. Through this process, you can help others to improve their emotional well-being.
Sail, sail a mile in my shoes.
Welcome to Headspace.
Sail, sail a mile in my shoes. Sail a mile in my shoes and tell me what you'd do if it happened to you. Sail a mile in my shoes, now would you still have that point of view? Sail, sail a mile in my shoes. Sail, sail a mile in my shoes. Spend a day on the run and tell me why say